Government's United Nations Bakassi Returnees Resettlement Plan, Akwa Ibom wants all returnees from the state to be accommodated. State government to collaborate with Catholic Church to keep the legacies of Dr. Ann Ward at St. Luke's Hospital, Anua. Yesterday was World Seafarers Day. Details of these and other stories in just a moment. Top of the morning, and thanks for joining us on the news. I am Samuel Udofia. The state government has called on the team of consultants constituted by the United Nations to review the Bakassi Returnees Resettlement Plan to ensure a good representation of all affected persons in Akwa Ibom State. Governor Udom Emmanuel made the call when he played host to the team at Government House, Uyo. Government House Bureau Chief Colonel Edem Efreti reports that the team, which has been in the state since Monday, was led by the South-South Liaison Officer to the National Boundaries Commission, Mr. Openi Marshall.
Governor Udom Emmanuel, who stressed that life of every Akwa Ibom person was more precious than wealth, urged the consultants to capture interest of all indigenes of the state displaced from Bakassi following the 2002 International Court ruling ceding Bakassi to the Cameroons, added that they should factor in growth rate to ensure that the returnees' children are included in the plan. The governor, who regretted that the state government cannot do the much it would have wished to do for the returnees due to its lean financial resources, urged other charitable organizations to join the United Nations in helping to resettle the displaced persons, even as they urged them to include capacity building for them in their recommendations.
So I really want to thank you people. I also hope your report will reflect the situation. We also see that some of those camps are also expanding. So factoring the growth rates, and also we welcome any kind of assistance and support that we get from the United Nations and also again from the federal government. We really appreciate it.
While presenting the team to the governor, the Deputy Governor, Mr. Moses Ekpo, said they were in the state to assess the need of Bakassi returnees. The Deputy Governor, who was represented by the State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Mr. Uwemedi Monwoko, complained of gross underestimation of the number of returnees from the state, saying only 7,092 persons were recognized as returnees from the state.
One issue that continues to bug us, which we have equally brought to the notice of the consultants, is the gross underestimation of the population of Akwa Ibom people that returned during the Bakassi issue. The Excellency, Akwa Ibom State was giving only 22% of the 32,235 indigenes of Nigeria that were affected, citizens of Nigeria that were affected.
The leader of the team and South-South Liaison Officer of the National Boundary Commission, Mr. Marcel Openi, said the visit of the team was a follow-up as part of the resettlement implementation process which started 13 years ago. He said a United Nations interagency team had earlier done reassessment of the needs of the returnees in 2011, but that the organization in its wisdom decided to set up a 5-man team to further ensure worthy intervention design.
Then as we turn around, we have asked questions, and the people have told us what are their needs, their priorities. I want to assure this house that at the end of the day, everything, even the ratio you are mentioning, Honorable Commissioner, we have taken care of it.
The consultant on water, sanitation and hygiene, Mr. Joseph Elesodo, said the team had concluded its visits to the different resettlement sites in the state, adding that their report would form part of the United Nations Development Assistance Framework for Nigeria for 2017. Colonel Edem Efreti reporting.
The state government has eulogized the virtues of Dr. Ann Ward, a medical missionary who served in the famous St. Luke's Hospital, Anua, in Uyo. Government expressed its feelings at the memorial and Thanksgiving Mass in honor of the late Reverend Sister who came to Nigeria in 1956. Patience John has details.
The Deputy Governor, Mr. Moses Ekwu, during the Thanksgiving Mass, described the late Dr. Ann Ward as a woman who rendered selfless services to humanity while alive. Mr. Ekwu also acknowledged her contributions to the growth of the health sector in the state and said that the state government has plans to collaborate with the Catholic Church to explore ways that the legacy of Dr. Ann Ward at the St. Luke's Hospital would be sustained.
My Lord, I want to assure you that the government will be very willing to discuss measures that will enable St. Luke's Hospital achieve its glory of the past.
A homily by the Reverend Father Donatus Udoipe of the Sacred Heart Parish, Akafor, thanked God for the life of the late gynecologist. Dr. Udoipe noted that the Catholic community in the state is proud to celebrate the death of a woman who was passionate about her job of saving lives, adding that her vast knowledge in gynecology led to a training of other medical doctors. The clergyman thanked the state government for naming the gynecology ward in Anua after the late Dr. Ann Ward.
We, however, passionately request for partnership and good mutual collaboration between the state and the church so as to bring back the former glories of what Ann Ward stood for and worked hard to build.
Speaking on the life of the late Dr. Ann Ward, among other tributes, the Reverend Sister Sylvia Ndwaka said the late medical missionary brought honor and respect to the medical profession with an uncommon zeal to help the sick. According to her, Dr. Ward had faith in God who guided her throughout her years of service, as well as helped the women to regain their dignity and be united to their families.
Dr. Ann Ward trained many doctors, mainly indigenous, but as you know, BBL is not an income generating. You spend, and it's a charitable work. It's a work only those who really want to serve God will be able to embark.
The late Dr. Ann Ward was born on 8th April 1929, served in Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria from 1959 to 2006, a period of over 50 years. In 1990, the medical doctor who majored in gynecology established the first vesico-vaginal fistula hospital in Nigeria, named Family Life Center VVF unit at Ribritam in its local government area, where many women were reintegrated into the society. She died on 28th May this year and was buried on the 30th of the same month at the St. Peter's Cemetery after a funeral mass at the mother house of the Medical Missionaries of Mary, Beach Grove. Patience John reporting.
Akwa Ibom State is to participate in the federal government's budget support facility, totaling 14.16 billion naira. This follows an approval granted by the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly to the state executive after receiving a request from Governor Udomi Manuel. The request sought the approval for the state to access the federal government's conditional budget facility guaranteed to states. This was part of Thursday's plenary, according to the Assembly correspondent Uluaiko report.
The letter conveying the executive request for approval to access the loan from the federal government was read by the clerk of the House, Mrs. Mandu Umoren.
This offer by the federal government is part of measures to cushion the effects of the present economic challenges faced by the state in meeting the obligations to staff, pensioners, and other stakeholders. Akwa Ibom State has been formally offered support in the sum of 14.16 billion naira. This to be available in 3 tranches.
Opening the debate on the governor's message, the majority leader, Sir Udoki Rianakpan, called for a speedy attention to be given to the message, explaining that the budget support facility offers a subsidized interest of 9%. Other lawmakers, in their contributions, agreed that the budget support facility would help cushion the effects of dwindling resources in the state and expressed the hope that the funds will be judiciously applied in the implementation of projects captured in the 2016 budget.
This is a program that the federal government is the key participant, and the Abaro State is only one of those states that is going to participate. And the House of Assembly resolution is a commission precedent upon which the federal government allows the states to be part of this. It is my opinion that Akwa should also take part in this facility, because tomorrow we don't really know what will happen. Maybe as the economy is fighting very hard, maybe tomorrow we are going to experience boom. And the federal government will decide to write up either the interest or anything result, whether will be left out, it will be used to take part in this facility. And that is why I write support the federal government, budget support facility to still then acquire the particular.
The Speaker, Barrister Onofiok Luke, commended the lawmakers for their swift response and commended President Buhari and other relevant finance stakeholders for providing the budget support facility to assist states meet their obligations to the people.
Subject to the approval of the Executive Council, hereby referred to ATESCO, the State and hereby authorized to receive proceeds of the note issuance from the subscriber in monthly tranches or in such other manner or such terms and conditions, including but not limited to tenor, amount, and price, as may be set out in the relevant documents entered into by the local commissioner of finance in this case the commission, or such other person or persons to whom the commissioner may delegate this power. Is it the wish of this house that this forms part of the resolution? Yes.
Meanwhile, the House of Assembly had summoned the Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Mr. Victor Antai, to appear before the Joint House Committees on Rules, Business, Ethics and Privileges, and the Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Public Petition. The Commissioner is to present detailed financial status of the 31 local government areas. The invitation of the Commissioner, Mr. Antai, follows a matter of urgent public importance raised on the floor of the House by the Chairman, Committee on Appropriations and Finance, Mr. Usoro Akpanuzo. While directing the Joint House Committee to report to the House next week, the Speaker, Barrister Onofiok Luke, explains that the State Assembly was trying to assist the Local Government Council in the absence of local government legislature as the third tier of government.
"20 people were arrested and arraigned before the Environmental Sanitation Court for violating the Environmental Sanitation Law. Those found guilty were asked to pay 2,000 naira fine or serve a 1-month jail term. The Environmental Sanitation Court was presided over by the magistrate, Rebecca Akpan. Some of the defaulters said they were ignorant of the exercise, while others pleaded leniency. The Commissioner for Environment and Mineral Resources, Dr. Iniobong Estienne, while monitoring the exercise, expressed satisfaction over the level of compliance by residents, noting that it was an indication that they had imbibed the exercise. Dr. Estienne visited Ikot Ambang Market in Ibionibom, where he expressed shock over the attitude of market women who claimed ignorance of the monthly exercise after his ministry had given adequate information on the sanitation exercise each month end. The Commissioner also visited the former Akwa Ibom Transport Company AKTC terminus on Ikot Ekwene Road, following reports that some persons were posing as staff of the Ministry of Environment Task Force, extorting money from innocent citizens. Dr. Estienne used the opportunity to free 2 female students of the University of Uyo, who were arrested and detained along with others by the supposed staff, while a sum of 5,000 naira was collected from each person arrested. At Itam Junction, a bus carrying some passengers was apprehended, and the driver told the monitoring team that they were going to Odupani for a marriage ceremony. Addressing youths at Ekbanikban Inset in Insidibom local government area, who turned out in large number with their president, Mr. Godwin Asukwo, for the exercise, the commissioner commended them for ensuring that their community was kept clean and urged them to continue in such spirit. While visiting the Eket Modern Market Park, the commissioner commended the people for participating actively, assuring that the refuse removed from the gutters would be effectively evacuated. You're watching AM News. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
There is a land of great beauty and wonderful people. Here, Mary Slessor called home until she passed on to greater glory. Here, Lord Lugard lived and administered Nigeria. The hills roll like the waves, and the waves rise like the hills. A land named after God, Akwa Ibom State, the land of promise. Welcome to Akwa Ibom, the land of promise.
You're still watching the news, and I'm Samuel Udofia. A one-day stakeholders consultative town hall meeting on the security of the state has ended in Uyo. The meeting, organized by the Akwa Ibom State Police Command and held at the Police Officers' Mess, had as its theme security threats in the state. The meeting was chaired by the Akwa Ibom State Commissioner of Police, Motola Usman Mani, with the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, the Secretary to the State Government, and the Commissioner for Transport in attendance. The report.
Others who attended the meeting were the Commandant of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, the Commandant of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the Controller of Immigration, and the Controller of Customs in the state. Also in attendance were the representatives of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, the Muslim community, the Igbo, Yoruba, and Ijaw communities, market women, vigilante group, the youth, and student association leaders. Also present were police divisional commanders, divisional police officers, and unit heads in the State Police Command. The meeting served as a platform for the participants who play crucial roles in ensuring adequate security within the state to brainstorm. Speakers agreed that the meeting was timely given the near volatile security environment, which calls for a uniform security that would guarantee and sustain the current peaceful atmosphere enjoyed in the state. In his opening remarks, the State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Mutala Mani, said that the stakeholders meeting was called to enable the people to interact, discuss, identify, and propose solutions. Ensure peace, which according to him is the greatest happiness for the greatest number of people. Mr. Mani, who said that security is everybody's business, spoke on the need for all to play their roles to the best of their ability to ensure adequate security that will guarantee the growth of business and expansion of the frontiers of leisure. He said that so far, the command has enjoyed reasonable and robust partnership from the government and the people of the state, including the traditional and religious leaders, the student unions and youth groups, trade unions and road transport workers, tricycle and motorcycle unions, and called for more of such cordial understanding by giving the police timely and credible information to assist in actionable intelligence.
For this man is not a witch doctor or Muslim. Even if he is, he will still rely on his client to furnish him with facts of their challenges before he can commence the process of gazing into these numerous filtered box. I therefore solicit your abiding partnership in this regard.
The Speaker of the State House of Assembly, represented by the member on our state constituency, Otuekong Seisien, said that the one-day stakeholders poly was necessary in order to maintain the already existing peaceful environment of the state. He corroborated with the states of the police commissioner that security is the concern of all and urged the people to cooperate with the police to ensure a peaceful and safe state for all.
Let me thank the security operatives, not just the police in our private states, for the relative peace that we've enjoyed in this side of the planet. If you check the indices of crimes, not only in Nigeria, but particularly in Nigeria, you appreciate what we have here in our private.
The Secretary to the State Government, represented by the Permanent Secretary in his office, Mr. Udwak George Omor, identified with the police and commended the command for organizing the meeting. The Secretary to the State Government promised that government will continue to support the police to enable it succeed in its responsibility of maintaining law and order in the state.
This town hall meeting is very, very important, and we believe that this will afford us the opportunity for all the stakeholders the opportunity to sit down and discuss these security challenges. The government of Akwa Ibom will continue to partner with the police to make sure that these security challenges are reduced to the barest minimum.
Mercy Hospital, foremost health institution in the state, Saturday received more people than usual. The occasion was the commissioning of renovated hospital blocks sponsored by 3 priests of the Catholic Church in Ikot-Ekpene Diocese. The reopening of the hospital blocks was performed by the Catholic Bishop of Ikot-Ekpene Diocese, Most Reverend Camillus Umor. The report.
The event, which started with a mass celebrated by the Catholic Bishop of Ikot-Ekpene, Most Reverend Camillus Umor, was his first visit to the hospital, which is the chief proprietor. The hospital blocks renovated and sponsored by Very Reverend Father Kani Sekbo, Very Reverend Father Oscar Bebe, and Very Reverend Father Gerald Akata at the outpatient block and the laboratory. Speaking before commissioning the project, Bishop Camillus Umor commended the hospital's management for its ingenuity in bringing life to the health institution. He commended the 3 priests for their interest in the welfare and health of others and thanked the management board of the hospital for doing a great job and for maintaining the peace with the community. Dr. Camillus Umor said the Catholic Church will continue to assist the society in the provision of health care and educational facilities to ensure good health and help eliminate ignorance.
What the priests have done is only to give back to us what you gave to them. That is why they have kept it, but they willingly rejected it down. I have said a lot. So, but those who have been doing well, and not oblivious of the fact that so many are sacrificed, and I say God will bless them.
In his welcome speech, the hospital administrator, Very Reverend Father Kani Sekbo, lamented the state of decay of facilities in the hospital, which necessitated their decision to assist the church. He said that Mercy Eye Center is about the best eye center in the country, adding that the management of the hospital was committed to maintaining the standard by engaging qualified medical personnel who are passionate about their work.
We decided to push in all the proceeds, at least to renovate the hospital, so that the less privileged may have a place where at least they can get help from.
The chairman of the hospital management board, Dr. Mike Udo, expressed happiness over the patronage of the hospital by the proprietor and commended the 3 priests for helping to renovate the hospital's block. Most Reverend Camillus Umor, after commissioning the blocks, inspected some units of the hospital.
June 25 every year is observed globally as Day of the Seafarer. The day was selected by United Nations in 2011 to recognize the unique contributions of seafarers to international seaborne trade and world economy. This year's theme of International Day of the Seafarer is At Sea for All. The following report seeks to identify who the seafarers are, what are their challenges, and what should be done to boost their career. Ayana Paul has details.
A seafarer is a person who is engaged in sailing or working on a ship. They are also called mariners, sailors, navigators, sea dogs, or seamen. The Day of the Seafarer was first celebrated in 2011 following its recognition by a resolution adopted by the Conference of Parties to the International Convention on Standards of Training, Certification, and Watchkeeping for Seafarers. It has to be noted that seafarers are civilians, not professional rescue personnel. In 2010, the International Maritime Organization, IMO, decided to designate June 25 as the International Day of the Seafarer as a way of recognizing the fact that everything in a person's life has been directly or indirectly affected by sea transportation. The day does not only acknowledge the invaluable work of the seamen, but also aims at bringing the global attention to issues affecting their work and lives, such as piracy.
Seafarers, they are not disposable. They are not just for their pocket, they are working for the benefit of the whole world. The pirates, we have what they call them, we call the sea robbers. It's a problem.
From my experience, when you get into the water, you have no other person to protect you there. If you cannot swim, if anything happens on your boat, that means you are a dead person.
The theme of this year's celebration of International Seafarers Day, At Sea for All, has a link with the 2016 World Maritime Days theme, Shipping, Indispensable to the World, emphasizing that seafarers serve at sea not just for the shipping industry or for their own career purposes, but for everybody.
Actually, for someone like me, I have a very strong phobia for the sea and marine transportation. And I want to say that these people who have been able to brace the challenge, to brace the odds, and go into this venture need to be celebrated, commended, and encouraged.
The celebration means that conscious policies that would lead to fair treatment of seafarers at port should be developed, and that private ship company owners should provide their employees with proper facilities and comfort while they are at sea. People, on the other hand, should show appreciation to seafarers who are most unnoticed but keep the wheels of the world in motion. There should be improved efficiency by leveraging technology for them.
So I believe that there should be adequate insurance and package and welfare and incentives for these people who are actually involved in seafaring business.
So government should see how they can be protected when they are there in this official assignment.
Government in the whole world should collaborate to provide them more with the security in terms of sea piracy that is stopping in the ocean.
Working in the sea is very, very dangerous. I think government should make sure that they are very, very secure and being paid well.
They are financing what they take home. It's not what compared to the international standard.
With so many opportunities, including growth areas such as cruise ships, super yachts, and renewable energy development, it is paramount to ensure that the next generation views working at sea as a viable and exciting career. Eyageno Paul, reporting.
And with that report on the Day of the Seafarer, we conclude our package this morning. You can also watch AKBC TV News online by logging on to akbconline.org or follow us on Twitter at AKBC45 or on Facebook at AKBC Channel 45. And now to end the news, the top stories. The state government has called on the team of consultants constituted by the United Nations to review the Bakassi Returnee Resettlement Plan to ensure a good representation of all affected persons in Akwa Ibom State. Governor Dom Emmanuel made the call when he played host to the team at the governor's office, Uyo. Also, the state government has eulogized the virtues of Dr. Ann Ward, a medical missionary who served in the famous St. Luke's Hospital, Anua. Consequently, the government said it will collaborate with the Catholic Church to sustain the legacies of the reputable gynecologist at the St. Luke's Hospital, where she worked for over 50 years. That's our package. Thanks for watching and have a great Sunday.